Enough meth to supply the country's users for 6 months has been stopped at the border in Customs' largest ever bust. Just under 500 kilos of the Class A drug was found in a shipment of electric motors after an investigation into a transnational drug syndicate. And authorities say overseas drug syndicates are targeting New Zealand. Tom Furley has more.
Back in June, Customs and the police learned people were staying in New Zealand for the sole purpose of receiving and distributing a shipment of methamphetamine. Customs Investigations Manager Bruce Berry says they began to track a company set out to import large quantities of drugs, and last month a major shipment of motors from Thailand was stopped.
Concealed within the electric motors was a total of 469 kilograms of methamphetamine. Each of the 60 motors had approximately 8 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed within the internal workings of the motor. This was an extremely sophisticated and complex importation by an organised criminal syndicate.
Mr Berry says the methamphetamine has a street value of $235 million. Detective Superintendent Greg Williams says the seizure has prevented major harm among New Zealand's most vulnerable communities.
To give you an idea of the scale of this, based on our wastewater analysis, the amount seized would have equated to between 22 and 26 weeks of total supply for the country. So that's nearly half a year's supply to the country. And if it had got out into the community, would have generated about $600 million in social harm based on the drug harm index.
Last night, 65 Customs and police staff searched 9 properties, recovering a further 15 kg of meth, tens of thousands of dollars in cash and a handgun. 2 Canadians and a New Zealander were arrested and face charges of importing and possession for supply. Bruce Berry says they've been working with Canadian and Thai authorities to try to tackle international syndicates.
You have Canadian syndicates that are targeting New Zealand. I think this shipment is clear evidence of that. We've got evidence of previous shipments by the same group into New Zealand. We can only assume of the same size. The 15 kilograms of methamphetamine recovered, we believe, was from a previous shipment.
He says more travellers are being used to help smuggle drugs between countries. He says they're using Airbnb and storage lockers as part of their trade, and people need to be wary.
It's a common methodology for them to come through and rent accommodation for an extended period of time. They'll usually pay cash, and they'll use those premises to facilitate their operations by either receiving commercial shipments there or use them as safe houses.
The 3 people appeared in the Auckland District Court today, charged with importing a Class A controlled drug and possession for supply. The police say further charges and arrests are likely. For Checkpoint, Tom Furley.